History tells us that Christopher Columbus set sail in 1492 and discovered the New World. But what if I told you that he might not have been the first? What if the Arabs, centuries before Columbus, had already crossed the Atlantic and reached the Americas? It sounds unbelievable, a claim that challenges everything we know. But the deeper we dig, the more clues we uncover. Clues that point to a forgotten voyage, erased from mainstream history. The official narrative credits Columbus with discovering America, but the truth is more complicated. Before Columbus, the Norse, led by Leif Erikson, had already landed in North America around the year 1000 AD. But were they the only ones? Or were there others far from Europe who made the journey long before? Ancient maps, historical records, linguistic evidence, and even archaeological discoveries suggest that the answer might be buried in the annals of Islamic history. To understand how this could be possible, we need to go back to the golden age of Islamic civilization. The 8th to the 15th century saw the rise of the Arab and Muslim world as a global superpower, dominating science, mathematics, medicine, and navigation. While Europe was going through the Dark Ages, the Muslim world was pushing the boundaries of knowledge. Arab navigators had already mapped much of the known world. They studied the stars, perfected the astrolabe, and built some of the most advanced ships of their time. The question is, did they use this knowledge to cross the Atlantic? One of the most intriguing pieces of evidence comes from a 10th century Muslim historian, Abu Bakr ibn Umar al-Gutiyah, who wrote about a group of Muslim sailors who set out from Al-Andalus, modern-day Spain, and never returned. His records mention that they might have reached a land far beyond the Atlantic. Then there's Al-Masudi, a renowned Arab historian and geographer, who wrote in the 10th century about vast lands beyond the ocean. He described an unknown land that had been reached by Arab sailors centuries earlier. Was he describing America? The writings of Al-Idrisi, a 12th century Arab geographer, provide even more tantalizing clues. Al-Idrisi, who worked for the Norman king of Sicily, wrote about a group of sailors who ventured west from the Canary Islands and reached an unknown land across the Atlantic. He called them the Mugharirin, meaning the risk-takers, a group of intrepid Arab explorers who defied the limits of their time. Could they have reached the shores of the Americas centuries before Columbus? But it's not just written accounts that raise eyebrows. In the Americas, there are traces of Arabic influence that cannot be ignored. Consider the linguistic evidence, words in Native American languages that bear striking similarities to Arabic. In the Algonquin and Iroquois languages, for example, researchers have found words resembling Arabic terms. Coincidence? Perhaps. But when combined with other evidence, the picture becomes harder to dismiss. Artifacts provide even more compelling clues. In Brazil, researchers have uncovered what appear to be Islamic inscriptions on rocks, possibly dating back to before the arrival of Columbus. Then there are the mysterious coins. Arabic coins have reportedly been found in various parts of North America. Some skeptics dismiss these finds as trade items brought later by Europeans, but others believe they point to a direct pre-Columbian Arab presence. And then there's the most controversial theory of all, the voyages of Mansa Abu Bakr II, the Malian emperor who is said to have abdicated his throne in the early 14th century to explore the Atlantic. According to records from the court of Mansa Musa, his successor, Abu Bakr II, led a fleet of 2,000 ships into the unknown. Some historians suggest that his fleet, influenced by Islamic navigation techniques, may have reached the Americas. If true, this means that Muslims from West Africa and the Arab world had already crossed the ocean long before Columbus. But how did they do it? Arab sailors had long mastered the monsoon wind system of the Indian Ocean, allowing them to travel great distances between Africa and Asia. Their ships, known as dhows, were designed to withstand long voyages, and Arab cartographers had already mapped lands as far as China. Could they have applied the same knowledge to the Atlantic? The winds and currents of the Atlantic suggest that a journey from West Africa or the Iberian Peninsula to the Americas was not only possible, but perhaps even likely. And then there's Columbus himself. His own writings provide cryptic hints. In his diary, he mentioned seeing black-skinned people among the Native American populations, and reported that some native tribes had gold-tipped spears identical to those used in West Africa. More importantly, Columbus knew where he was going. His maps showed knowledge that he should not have possessed unless he had access to earlier navigational records. Did he learn of the Americas from Arab sources? We know that Islamic knowledge heavily influenced European navigation. Was Columbus merely following in the footsteps of forgotten Muslim explorers? Despite the evidence, mainstream history continues to credit Columbus with the discovery of America. Why? Because history is written by the victors. When the Reconquista expelled Muslims from Spain in 1492, their libraries, knowledge, and historical records were destroyed or lost. The contributions of Muslim scientists and navigators were systematically erased from European history books. If Arab explorers had reached the Americas before Columbus, their achievements would have been buried along with the vast intellectual legacy of Islamic civilization. But the truth has a way of resurfacing. More researchers are now questioning the official narrative, re-examining old maps, historical records, and linguistic patterns. The evidence may not be definitive, but it is compelling enough to force a re-evaluation of history. If the Arabs did reach the Americas before Columbus, it changes everything. It means that the narrative of discovery we've been taught is incomplete. It means that the Islamic world played a role in shaping global exploration long before Europe took center stage. But what does this mean for us today? Does it change our understanding of world history? Does it alter how we see the interactions between civilizations? More importantly, what else has been erased from history? What other journeys, discoveries, and interactions have been lost to time? Perhaps buried in forgotten manuscripts or hidden beneath the ruins of ancient cities, there are even more secrets waiting to be uncovered. One thing is certain: history is never as simple as we were taught. The past is full of mysteries, and sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. Did the Arabs discover America before Columbus? We may never have absolute proof, but the clues are there, waiting for those who dare to look beyond the accepted version of history. The question is not just whether they arrived first, the question is why their story was forgotten and what else we have yet to uncover.